Hello, cute people. Let me try that again. Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Live in Aloha podcast. I'm Liv, and my husband is gone today. He's working, so you've got me for a solo episode today, and I honestly can't wait. And I'm sorry about my voice, it's a little sick, so please forgive me. I probably need to go take a spoonful of honey. Actually, I'm gonna go do that. I'll be right back. Mm. Okay, hopefully. Hey, that kind of helped my voice. Okay. So, hi guys. How are we? What's going on? How was your Thanksgiving? Mine was good. We actually had a really good Thanksgiving dinner in Mexico. And shout out to my dad because he truly is so good at cooking and can just throw things together with who knows what. And so he put together this amazing Thanksgiving dinner and it was so yummy. And it was just nice to still be able to have a Thanksgiving meal while on vacation. So, anyways, I hope you guys are good. I hope you're surviving the cold. It's been snowing the past couple days and it hasn't stuck yet, but it's freezing outside and it's really cloudy and gloomy. So, I gotta increase my vitamin D dose. I don't know about you guys. Okay, but first, I'm not really gonna do the what am I gonna work on thing this week, but I do have two life hacks for you, maybe three. The first one is we've all had a little cold in this house, and the Beekeeper's Naturals little yellow bottle of throat spray, it's like immune support, whatever. I think it's been helping, seriously, because I've been using it, Navy's been using it, and Ma's been using it. Ma's not even sick. Navy is a little sick and I'm a little sick, but she usually gets worse. And I've been giving her multivitamin every day, and then I've also been giving her this since we got sick. And I feel like we haven't gotten as sick as we normally would, we haven't been congested. So that's the first one. It is kind of expensive. I think it was like $25 for this tiny little bottle, but if it works, it works. It's got to have something magic in it. The second thing is if you have a kid or kids, or if you're a nanny or something, take the kids to PetSmart. And I posted this on my Instagram, and I actually still don't know. I didn't look it up, but is it Pet Smart or is it Pets Mart? Both kind of make sense, but who knows what it is. Either way, we dropped off Ma at the bank the other day and we had a few minutes to kill. So we went to PetSmart and looked at the animals, looked at the fishies, and it's like Navy was so entertained. We were running up and down the aisles, seeing the little snakes and guinea pigs and whatnot. And we came home with two goldfish. So they're still alive. It's been over 24 hours. So check back next week. um, but yeah, honestly, a good little activity for the kids. So there's that. And you guys, Ma wanted me to wait for him to do this podcast, but he's not going to be home for a little while. And I just want to get it over with, to be honest, because I'm tired. Oh, I have another update. Navy dropped her nap. Okay. We officially dropped it pretty much in Mexico. And she has been doing pretty good without it, but she still hasn't been sleeping all the way through the night, which could be partially because of the vacation, could be partially because of the sickness, but even before that, she was still waking up in the night and just coming to our room. So I gotta kind of retrain her to sleep in her bed all night. Stay in there and don't come out. And even if she has to resettle herself, she needs to learn how to do that. So I'm in the process of doing that, but also Um, I think she's been overtired because she doesn't have a nap. So by the time I put her to bed, even at 7 p.m., it's still too late. So today I put her to bed at 5:30. Not even kidding. I mean, it's been dark since 4, so it doesn't feel that wrong, but that's really early. But she was so grumpy today and just whiny and crying and just tired, and she doesn't feel good. So I'm like, you know what? I've also heard that the more sleep they get, the more sleep they get. Does that make sense? The more they sleep, the longer they sleep. Oh my gosh, she literally just started crying. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry, that was weird. I'm back. She woke up and she had a bloody nose, hence the jacket change. So I don't know, it's probably just dry from the sickness, I guess. I don't think she's ever had a bloody nose in her whole life, so that was sad, but she's okay, and she's back asleep. So, I can't remember what I was talking about exactly. Let's just get into the episode. Today, I am talking about PCOS, okay? And everything that comes with that. Like the symptoms that I have, the typical symptoms, and then like the effect that it has on pregnancy and fertility. Because I have learned a lot this past week and I wanted to share it with you guys because there's literally so much that I didn't know, and I have PCOS and I just didn't know a lot about it. And even after going to nursing school, like we just don't go that in depth into every diagnosis, obviously. So I just studied this on my own and I wanted to share for anybody who's interested. And like the research that I was doing was mostly around recurrent pregnancy loss and insulin resistance that stems from PCOS. So that's like the nitty gritty of what I was researching and what I'll talk about. But so PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is such a hard diagnosis because it's understudied. There's not one test for it that says, oh, yeah, you have it. It's based off of your symptoms, and everybody has different symptoms. But the typical symptoms that you might see are like irregular cycles, hard time getting pregnant, and like not ovulating, along with an increase of androgens, increased testosterone, which like causes acne and hair growth on like the chin, chest, back, belly area, also like balding, like so many just not fun symptoms, along with insulin resistance, which is more of the metabolic type. And yes, I am a nurse, but no, I'm not a doctor, and I don't like have a degree in PCOS. So this is just all from my understanding of what I've looked up and what I've learned. And this is all on my own because the doctor, like my OB, has not been helpful in this case. So with the insulin resistance, and that can be even if you have regular blood sugar, insulin resistance can end up turning into type 2 diabetes if you're not already diabetic. With that comes sugar cravings, energy goes up and down from the highs and lows of your blood sugar dropping and spiking. And then there's the mental health part of it. Like a lot of people with PCOS struggle with anxiety and depression. Me too. Fatigue. And then, of course, cysts on your ovaries is a big one, but that doesn't mean you have to have cysts on your ovaries to have PCOS. Like, I don't have that, but I still have PCOS. And then weight gain and like a hard time losing weight, especially around the abdominal area. Okay. So those are the main symptoms. And from those symptoms, I actually have regular cycles. I did have a little bit of a hard time getting pregnant in the beginning, but now I've gotten pregnant 4 times. And so I don't have a hard time getting pregnant and I ovulate regularly, so that's not my issue. Mine is more of the metabolic side with the excess of androgens causing the acne, the increase of free testosterone in my blood, and insulin resistance is a big one for me, along with the mental part, anxiety and depression, fatigue. So those are the ones that I deal with, okay? And everybody's can look so totally different, and that's why it is hard to be diagnosed, and that's why I'm sure a lot of women have it and don't know about it, but they're having weird symptoms that they're like, what the heck is going on? But the doctor just says, oh no, like if you don't look like the typical PCOS person, which like from what I've read, there's like 70% are the type where you have irregular cycles, you have a hard time getting pregnant, and you have weight gain, the hair on the chin, that type of stuff. So that's like what doctors kind of look at if you have PCOS. So there's like that version, and then there's like the lean version, which is what I fall under, which is probably why my doctor hasn't been helpful. And he kind of like doesn't really believe that I have PCOS. And I've been to 2 OBs and neither of them say I have it. But then the one nurse practitioner who specialized in women's health diagnosed me with PCOS because of my symptoms and my labs. And my OB currently hasn't even checked my labs to even rule that out. And I've brought it up a couple times and he just kind of brushes it off and basically acts like nothing happened. So why this is a big thing to me right now is because I just had a third miscarriage. First one was ectopic and then 2 early pregnancy loss at 9 weeks in the past like 5 months. So I'm at the point now where I'm like, there's got to be something going on. Like, yes, it could be just random miscarriages. That is possible, but with PCOS and it runs in my family, and I've had cousins who have had a hard time getting pregnant or had miscarriages, whatever. And so I'm like, there's got to be something going on with the PCOS. So, anyways, I've kind of avoided it until this point because I didn't want to do too much research to where I'm like, oh, it's my fault because I could have done something differently and I didn't because I didn't know. So I can't really blame myself, but my brain does go there at times. So, but that's why I kind of haven't looked into it until now. But at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't want to have another miscarriage. So what can I do to prevent that? And I had a thought the other day. So, like, for example, at my last OB appointment after my miscarriage, I said, do you think it has anything to do with PCOS? And he says, no, like PCOS, women with PCOS have a hard time getting pregnant, like, and you don't have that problem. So, and that is simply not true, okay? Yes, there are people with PCOS who have a hard time getting pregnant. And I'm sure he looks at me and he's like, well, you have regular cycles, you can get pregnant, you're lean on the lean end, and who cares about acne and depression, like whatever, you know? But so I'm sure that's why he brushes it off because I don't have the typical symptoms of a PCOS person. So because I don't have like the classic PCOS symptoms that maybe he learned about in medical school, he hasn't done all the research and he doesn't know all this more studied information and the newer research from about PCOS that there are just like different types and they can have different effects, especially with pregnancy. So from him saying, oh no, it doesn't have anything to do with PCOS. If I would have just listened to that and been like, well, I hope the next one is fine. Like, I guess there's nothing I can do. And he did one test basically to see if I have a blood clotting disorder and to see if that's why I'm having miscarriages, but that was negative. So if I were to just listen to him and not do my own research, I would just be sitting here twiddling my thumbs, being like, well, that's too bad. I had 2 miscarriages in a row around 9 weeks, and I just hope that doesn't happen again. And just like waiting for it to happen. Like that's the definition of insanity. Hoping for a different result and doing nothing different. So I decided to deep dive into this whole PCOS effect on pregnancy thing, which I found a lot of information on, especially with insulin resistance in particular. Since one of the main things with PCOS is you have a hard time getting pregnant, I didn't really think about what are the effects that the PCOS has once you are pregnant, because I don't know, that just never crossed my mind. But insulin resistance plays a huge role in pregnancy, okay? It affects, even before you get pregnant, it affects your egg quality. It affects the embryo. But with that said, the eggs that we drop aren't always the mature, perfect eggs to drop, okay? So, for example, and also, I didn't even know that there was like a higher risk of miscarriage with PCOS. How did I not know that? I don't know, but now you know. So, there are things that you can do to minimize that risk, right? And that's what I'm getting to. But if the egg quality, or if we're dropping eggs and a lot of them are just immature eggs that aren't ready to turn into a baby, and that egg happens to get fertilized and implants, it's not going to survive and you're going to have a miscarriage because it wasn't a fully developed egg to become a baby in the first place. So that in and of itself is like, oh, okay, good to know, right? But that's just with the PCOS. With insulin resistance, it has an effect on your egg quality. So your egg quality goes down. It also affects the embryo division once it has implanted and is an embryo, right? It's a fertilized egg, turns into an embryo, gets implanted into the uterus, and the embryo division doesn't happen as well. Okay, it's not dividing and multiplying and growing as a baby should because of the insulin resistance. Insulin resistance also affects placental development. So because of the increased insulin it causes inflammation, okay? Inflammation affects everything, right? But especially in the uterine lining. If an egg and a sperm become an embryo and implant into a uterine lining that is inflamed, it's not going to grow and have a healthy environment to thrive, right? Which means the early growth is disrupted, okay? So then, I don't know. Oh, it's frustrating because it all makes sense now. Like, it kind of does feel like an answer of why I had these past 2 miscarriages, because the timing lines up perfectly with everything I studied, like with the pregnancy loss and I don't know. And like how I went in for what I thought was my 8-week appointment, but the baby was only measuring at like 6 weeks. So it totally makes sense that the egg wasn't, or like the embryo wasn't developing properly, right? It slowed down its growth. Its heart rate was really low. And that was like already becoming a miscarriage, right? Because it wasn't a thriving baby as it should have been. So it makes sense, right? And so, and yes, I was taking progesterone on this last pregnancy, and it obviously didn't save my pregnancy. So, what I learned is that even when you're taking progesterone, it's not going to fix, because progesterone helps the uterine lining stay strong for the baby to stay in there and not like shed out like a period would, causing a miscarriage. So, the progesterone isn't going to fix the inflammation that you already had from the insulin resistance, which doubled on that, you have a worse egg because of the inflammation. And or because of the insulin resistance, you also have a worse quality egg, okay? So it's just like thing after thing after thing. It's all making sense to me why it wouldn't work, right? So when you have insulin resistance, you also have weak ovulation and weak progesterone signaling. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to read my notes and they're kind of all over the place. Oh, yeah. So if you have weak ovulation, then you have weak progesterone signaling. So it's not going to keep up those hormones that you should have at certain levels. They're not going to be where they should be because it's weak, okay? Not really sure on the pathophysiology of all that, but that's what I read, okay? If ovulation is metabolically weak, that means, so let's say you ovulate, you have an egg drop, but it's a weak egg, it's a weak the hormones that are signaling aren't as strong as they should be, blah 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 blah. Then when that egg drops, it leaves behind the corpus luteum, right? Which is like, I, I think it's like a little hole, basically like it's just the spot where the egg dropped from. And or maybe I should Google what a corpus luteum is because I don't fully know actually. I'm pretty sure it's like the spot where the egg dropped from, which then starts producing the hormones that it needs to survive, to keep the egg alive or to keep the embryo alive, okay? So, but if the ovulation is weak, metabolically speaking, the corpus luteum is under functioning, meaning it's not sending all those hormones as it should. It's weak, okay? All of these things are bad, and it's all from the insulin resistance. And also, what I read is that the problems start around 6 to 8 weeks, and 8 to 10 weeks is when the placenta starts to take over and feed all the nutrients, all the hormones. The baby fully relies on the placenta at that point instead of the mom's hormones, okay? So, if the placenta has if the placental development isn't great and all these other problems are happening, when the placenta starts to take over, it's not going to be able to take over, okay? Because the embryo isn't growing as it should. The hormones aren't doing what they should be doing to keep the baby growing. It hasn't been dividing and multiplying as it should to be growing at the rate that it needs to keep up with like a normal paced pregnancy. And just the timing of this. So I had my 2 past miscarriages, both at 9 weeks. And it's just making perfect sense because at my appointment, like I said, it was only measuring at like 6 weeks when I thought it should have been 8. And which, sometimes they can just be off based off of the timing or whatever, but it's, I don't know, like the heart rate was slow. It wasn't growing as it should. And it's just, I don't know, it was like such a light bulb in my head that like, wow, this could really be the reason why I had both of those miscarriages, same exact timing. I don't know. And it does make me feel bad and feel guilty, like, well, maybe if I knew this, I could have prevented it, but you don't know what you don't know. And now I know and can hopefully prevent it and make it better for my future pregnancies. Okay. So with all this said, another reason why I feel guilty is because I was taking metformin. I was prescribed metformin maybe like a year ago. Yeah, probably a year ago now. And I was taking it for probably like 6 months. And then I must have had my thought process is I ran out of refills and I had to make an appointment to get a refill, and I just forgot about it and never scheduled it, and then I literally wasn't taking it. I probably haven't been taking it for like 5 months because I can't remember the last time I had it, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't taking it for that, not the last pregnancy, but the one before that in July. I don't think I was on it. And metformin helps to lower your insulin resistance, right? It increases your insulin sensitivity. It keeps your blood sugar regulated. It controls your hunger. It decreases your sugar cravings, and is just a really good medication that's prescribed for a lot of PCOS women to help those symptoms. Some to lose weight, some for whatever else reasons. But this statistic is actually crazy. Metformin decreases early pregnancy loss from 49% to 12% simply by just taking metformin as a PCOS woman. Like, my mind was blown. And the fact that 49% was the first percentage, like, it doesn't, it's not crazy to me that I just had 2 miscarriages. 49% because of the insulin resistance? So, I mean, it does make me feel bad that I forgot about the metformin and, like, why did it take 2 miscarriages for me to realize this and do my research and whatever, but I gotta give myself more grace. And okay, so basically, this is all just information that I was like blown away by, and it just made so much sense, and it was just all clicking in my head. Like, wait, the timing lines up perfectly. It makes sense that the baby wasn't developing properly. It makes sense that since I wasn't taking my metformin, my insulin probably was not doing what it should be doing. And anyways, so don't forget to educate yourselves. Don't just rely on the doctors. Like, I think we all know this. You really have to advocate for yourself. And even me knowing this and being a nurse and knowing that doctors don't always give what they should be giving, and they don't always know the updated information, and they don't always really want to get to the root problem. With me, I already knew that, but I'm just now like learning all this and figuring it out. But the information is out there. If you look for it, there's articles you can read, there's podcasts, there's YouTube videos, and I've been all in all of that for like past 4 days straight. But anyways, it's just interesting to me. And I think it is a newer thing about the insulin resistance being such a big role in pregnancy. With insulin resistance playing such a big role in pregnancy, like, I feel like your A1C should be tested before you even try to get pregnant every time, because if you can reduce that by taking a medication or changing your diet, lifestyle, working out, whatever, I don't know. Like, I just feel like there should be way more prenatal testing to minimize these problems that people have. It's seriously a miracle that anybody gets pregnant ever. Like, there's so many things that have to go perfectly right, and then the baby just comes out perfectly, like, a lot of the times. Anyways, it's such a miracle, and I'm so grateful to have experienced that, and I'm really hopeful that it will happen again. And now that I even know more information, I'm like, feel like it's kind of more in my control, where it really felt out of my control there for a little while. So, advocate for yourself, educate yourself. If you have a doctor that's not really listening to you, go find a new one. I love my OB, and he was a great OB being pregnant and delivery and everything, but with trying to figure out like the miscarriages, he hasn't been that helpful. And like, he hasn't even recommended like more extensive testing or recommended to a fertility center. And you'd think after 3 miscarriages in a row they might start to be like, let's find out some more information, you know? So go to different doctors, ask your friends, do your research, listen to podcasts, and you really can find out so much for free too. Like the information is there if you go find it. And obviously not just with PCOS, but anyways, I don't know how many people are going to listen to this that don't care about PCOS, but who cares? So, what am I going to do about it for this next pregnancy? What am I already doing about it? Well, I called my doctor and got a refill of my metformin. It's probably I'm just waiting for it to be ready at the pharmacy, and then I'm going to go pick it up and start taking that. I'm also taking CoQ10, which if you haven't heard of CoQ10, specifically the ubiquinol form, there's another form, but the ubiquinol is like prime for egg quality, okay? It really helps your eggs be better quality than they are naturally. Mm. Along with inositol, there's myo and inositol, and that also helps your um it helps your just fertility. It helps people get pregnant. It'll help your egg function as well. It'll help your ovulation, etc. Omega 3s to help with inflammation. Vitamin D. Basically, everybody's deficient in vitamin D, especially in Utah. So just take it. I don't think it can hurt. No, just kidding. Ask your doctor. But vitamin D is especially women with PCOS are especially deficient in vitamin D. And I'm also taking a prenatal and I'm also taking my antidepressant. So I know that sounds like a lot and it kind of feels like a lot when I'm taking it, but I think it'll really help me. And I think I'll take these for a couple months and see how I feel. I have a free consultation phone call tomorrow with a nurse practitioner who specializes in women's health, and I'm going to just ask her if she has any further suggestions or what she would do for me, treatment plan. But I feel like I kind of already figured it out on my own. Like I don't even need a doctor. I just I don't know. But I really am feeling confident that these things will help me and that I'll have a healthy pregnancy next time. And I just have faith in God that everything will work out. But it did take some work to get here. So, um, anyways, that's like kind of what I'm taking. I've been going to yoga and Pilates again, hot yoga and Pilates, and I love it. It's truly my favorite form of exercise. And when I have that membership and when I'm going, that's like the most consistent I am with working out. And obviously, we all know the benefits of working out. This is something I always want to work on being better at, but I have been consistent the past couple weeks. Well, minus Mexico, but I'm back going there and it makes me feel so good. The only thing with it is that I can't I'm not going to go when I do get pregnant, so I got to figure something else out for when I am pregnant that I like to do. I can just do home workouts or home Pilates or whatever, but I'll figure that out when I get there. So, but I really am just trying to like focus on myself, focus on what I can do for me to be healthy so that when I do get pregnant, the baby will be in a healthy environment and be perfect, basically. So that's what I'm focusing on. As much as I obviously want to have more babies, that like I think if I just focus on trying to get pregnant and not focus on how I can be healthy, then it's probably not going to be the best situation. Like I need to be healthy first, especially so that I can continue to be the healthiest that I can be during pregnancy because we all know how that goes, right? Like I pretty much only ate Taco Bell my whole first pregnancy because nothing sounds good. You just survive. But I'm honestly surprised I can talk this long by myself. um, but same with like working out. You have no energy when you're pregnant. So I'm trying to set myself up for success for when I do get pregnant because these past two pregnancies, even though they were only 9 weeks long, I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't doing good. I wasn't eating good. Definitely wasn't working out. So I'm trying to get into better habits now while I do feel good. And then I'll be prepared better. Another thing with PCOS is because of the insulin sensitivity and it causes your blood sugar to spike and drop, which affects so many things. But another thing that will help with that is, besides exercise and, like, obviously good sleep and low stress, another thing is a low glycemic index diet. What that is basically things that don't spike your blood sugar. So eating things, whole foods, grains, the more like whole foods you can eat, the better. Not a lot of processed foods, not a lot of sugar. But if you are going to eat that type of stuff, make sure you pair it with a fiber and a protein so that your blood sugar doesn't spike and crash. Okay. So I have been trying to focus on that even more too, making sure that even when I do eat chips or sugar or whatever, I'm at least eating something with protein and fiber at the same time so that it's not as big of an effect on my blood sugar. Okay? Okay. Then for the mental health, obviously working out helps me a lot. Sleep is a big one, and for the past couple weeks I have not been sleeping well, especially with Navy waking up in the night and then us being sick. It just has not been like I have not been sleeping an 8-hour stretch, so probably not even a 6-hour stretch, but it affects you more than you know, and I've just been so drained and so it's catching up to me, and I think that's why I'm sick. So hopefully as Navy's sleep schedule improves, mine does too. You guys, I really want to be the mom that wakes up before the kids, but I just haven't been able to. I've been tired for 2.5 years. I've been tired, and no, I think I'm just being lazy about it. But I I do want to, like, once she's sleeping through the night, I think I'll really be able to, like, set an alarm and wake up before her and get my morning going before she's awake. And that'll set my day up for better success, right? Also, going to church, that helps my mental health too. We've been going to church recently. Started going recently again. Um Also getting outside, which is kind of a struggle right now because it is so cold, but just getting out of the house, which is also a struggle because we only have one car and my husband going to work. So I've been stuck at home some days, which is fine. Like, we make it work, but it does, the days seem longer and it's a little more depressing when you aren't, like, out of the house. Also, getting ready for the day helps me with my anxiety and depression. I honestly, I haven't felt anxious in a while, like, since I've been taking my medication that I'm on now, Wellbutrin. I haven't really been struggling with anxiety for a while now, but the depression, it kicks in here and there, and it's just something I have to work on and live with and try to make it go away. And there's things that I can do to make it better. So that's what I'm working on, especially with winter. Oh man, the seasonal depression really gets me, and I think it always has, but as I've been an adult, I realize how actually bad it is because I don't have school, I don't have a job, all I have is to be a mom right now. Well, okay, I do have a job, but I don't, like, go to work, you know what I mean? But I'm a mom, and that can just be draining, you know? It's the best thing in the world. Like, I never wanna act like I never wanna portray that being a mom is, like, such a drag, because it really is my favorite thing in the world, but with that said, it is draining and I'm tired, and this could be because of my lack of sleep lately, but I'm trying to be I'm trying to be a good mom and I'm trying to make magic happen around Christmas. It's December now. It's Maddie's birthday today. Happy birthday, sister. I love you. And so yeah, with the holidays, I'm trying to make it magical, and I think December is actually the least depressing winter month because of Christmas and because it just started. Winter just started. So it's fun. We have an advent calendar that we've been doing every every day, all 3 days. We made some snowflakes, we made a gingerbread house, we opened our Christmas jammies, and I think it's fun to keep that up and just make the magic happen, even if it's the littlest ways that are cheap or free or take 2 minutes, but it's just like the tradition of it will be so fun for kids to look back on, but it's also fun for me and it's fun for us as a family to do these little activities that we don't wouldn't normally do every day. So, Navy's awake again, so I better wrap this up. But oh, wait, guys, I have a secret to tell you. We're doing 12 days of Sexmas. So, if you need ideas, let me know. Um, it's going good so far. And that's another way to spice up your life. Um, what else? I wanted to tell you something else. Oh yeah, I'm having a favorite things party next weekend and little girls' night. So that'll be fun. Also, we put up Christmas lights on our house for the first time ever because we've never had a house before. And it's so cute. And I love it. I love the Christmas magic. I literally play Christmas music on Alexa all day, every day. Pretty much. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I just have not been like, I don't know what it is about TikTok that really, it's like my blood sugar. It just goes up and down with my motivation to post on TikTok. Because some days I'm like, this is so fun. I love the creativity, thinking of new ideas, posting my cute outfits, my recipes, whatever it is. I think it's so fun. But then there's like the other days, and I'll be on a roll with that for a while. But then I hit this roadblock where I'm like, I actually hate TikTok. What am I doing? It's the biggest waste of my life. And maybe this is because like I'm not making $1 million as an influencer, and so it's not like really affecting my life in big positive ways. Like it's fun for me and I make friends and whatever, that's fun, but like there's more negatives. It's just taking away my time, it's taking away my energy. Like I'm not a good mom if I'm just sitting on TikTok. And I don't want that to be my whole life. And if you are posting on TikTok, it kind of is your whole life because you're thinking, what can I post about this? Oh, I'm going here. Should I post about that? Oh, I gotta wear something cute so I can post about that. Like, and I don't even have that many followers, but it does kind of consume you if you're trying to do that for fun or for a living or whatever. And I've gotten a couple free things sent to me and that's fun and everything, but I'm just like, is this worth it? Like in 5 years, am I going to be like, what the heck was I doing? Why was I wasting time on TikTok? Or it could be totally different and I could pursue this and start making a lot of money and make it a business. Like that could be a real thing and it does happen. But I also kind of just don't care about anybody knowing about my life. And I don't like, I want to delete all social media. But that also can't happen because I run the business Instagram and our podcast Instagram, and I gotta promote it. And posting on TikTok is probably also a good way to grow. So, anyways, I go so back and forth. Guys, my voice is getting a little tired and dry. So I'm probably gonna wrap this up, but this was a fun solo. And next week we're gonna have a fun topic with Mom. We're gonna talk about kava. Okay, we're gonna talk all about kava. You guys loved our um culture episode, culture episode, mixing cultures in a marriage episode. It's episode number 2. You guys loved that one. It's blown out of the water compared to the other listener count on the other ones. So I'm like, okay, let's keep the good vibes going and let's get something that the people want to hear about, which is apparently the cultural stuff, which a big one, at least in our marriage, is kava. Okay, so that's the topic for next week. And I hope you guys like this episode. I kind of like doing solos. It's a little stressful thinking about it at first, but then once I start talking, I just can't shut up. So let me know if you like it. I can do some more of it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Okay. And it's only 7 p.m. Wow. What a good day. I gotta go check off my daily Sexmas list and then go to bed, honestly. I love that for me. Oh, also, I finished watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and the reunion comes out tomorrow, and I'm actually like kind of addicted to that show. I don't know what it is. It's just drama, pretty much, but it is addicting to watch, and I can't wait for that reunion. So Let me know what your thoughts are. Who do we like? Who do we love? Who do we hate? Just kidding. We don't hate anybody around here because this is the Live in Aloha podcast. And we're here to spread aloha and joy and happiness and love. I think that's all for now. And I need to be better at also posting on the Instagram stories because I'm not very interactive on there. And I can be better at that. So maybe that'll be my New Year's goal. Okay? Okay. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great Aloha Friday. And we'll see you next week.